It's April 29th, which means today is officially Independent Bookstore Day. This isn't really a holiday that I was aware of until like this week, but say no more. If you're gonna give me an excuse to go buy books, I'm gonna take it. And there are two different local bookstores where I live that are having very cool events today to celebrate Independent Bookstore Day. They're having like special sale. They're also gonna have some merch that you can get and other things that I think are gonna be so fun. So I wanna visit two separate bookstores, one that I have been to before and the other one I've never been, but I've been wanting to go for like at least a year at this point. And of course I wanted to bring you guys along, show you what the events look like, and also show you what I end up buying. And also remind you to always shop locally when you can. I know it's not something that is accessible to everyone. I know not everyone has access to a local indie bookstore, but if you can, take some time to support your local bookstores because that money will stay locally, will stay within your community. And indie bookstores are just so cool. I feel like they're usually way more personalized and the staff is always so nice, and I feel like they always have the cutest setups and like the coziest vibes. So I'm so excited to visit these two stores. Going to bookstores is like one of my favorite things to do. So if you give me a day to use as an excuse to buy books, I'm gonna take it. So that's what we're gonna do today. And just like that, I'm back home and I brought 3 books home with me to add them to my never-ending TBR. They're all in here, so let's go through them together. As you saw, I went to 2 different bookstores. They're both here in Nashville. One is called Novelette, and it's this very new bookstore. I feel like they're probably gonna have their first anniversary very soon, but I honestly don't think they have been open for a full year just yet. They have a really good collection of books, especially when it comes to queer literature, because the bookstore is queer-owned, which we love to see. So while I was there, I purchased 2 books, but the first book that I bought is The Book of Form and Emptiness by Ruth Ozeki. Ruth Ozeki is the same author that wrote A Tale for the Time Being, which, if you follow me on TikTok, you will know has been my favorite book of 2023 so far. I have been looking for a book that makes me feel the same way as A Tale for the Time Being made me feel since I read it, and I have not been able to find it. So I'm hoping that going with the same author will be what gives me that same feeling. I'm not entirely sure what this one is about, but I am sure that I am going to love it. Here is what the back says. 1 year after the death of his beloved musician father, 13-year-old Benny O begins to hear voices. The voices belong to the things in his house: a sneaker, a broken Christmas ornament, and while Benny doesn't understand what these things are saying, he can sense their emotional tone. When his mother develops a hoarding problem, the voices grow more clamorous. At first, Benny tries to ignore them, but soon the voices follow him outside the house, driving him to seek refuge in a public library, where objects are well behaved and know to speak in whispers. There, he discovers a strange new world. He falls in love with a mesmerizing street artist who uses the library as her performance space. He meets a homeless philosopher poet who encourages him to ask important questions and find his own voice amongst the many. And he meets his very own book, a talking thing, who narrates Benny's life and teaches him to listen to the things that truly matter. I literally want to start reading this right now. Like, I want to stop everything that I'm doing, sit down and just devour this book. Ruth Ozeki has such a way with the stories that she tells, at least with A Tale for the Time Being. It was such an immersive story where you don't really know what's going on at first, but then things slowly start to piece together. And when you find out what has been going on the whole time, it's like one of the most satisfying experiences I have ever read reading a book. It's so much fun, it's so engaging, and it's really one of those books that I think about very often. So I have high hopes for this one and I cannot wait to check it out. The other book that I bought is actually one that I want to keep for a video idea that I have, and that is Small Things Like These by Keegan. If you're someone that watches a lot of booktube, you probably know who loves this book right here, and you can probably guess what my video idea is. But this is a tiny little book that I've heard very incredible things about. I have never read a book by Keegan before, but I have heard incredible things about this author as well. I know she is Irish, and I believe this book is about a very small town where this man randomly performs an act of kindness, and it kind of changes the structure and kind of changes the dynamics of that town. I think that's what it's about. Let's double check. It is 1985 in a small Irish town. During the weeks leading up to Christmas, Bill Furlong, a coal merchant and family man, faces into his busiest season. Early one morning, while delivering an order to the local convent, Bill makes a discovery which forces him to confront both his past and the complicit silences of a town controlled by the church. Oh, that's very interesting. My synopsis didn't include that. An international bestseller, winner of the Orwell Prize, and shortlisted for the Booker Prize, Small Things Like These is a deeply affecting story of hope, quiet heroism, and empathy from one of our most critically lauded and iconic writers. That sounds fantastic. I feel like this is going to be deeply touching. It's also very short. Like, the book itself is tiny, and it's only, what, 116 pages? So I feel like I can probably read this in a day. And I think this is really gonna stay with me, or at least I hope it will. We'll see when I finally get to it, but I am very excited nonetheless. And the last book I bought it at the bookshop here in Nashville as well. That was my first time going to the store. It definitely felt like an independent bookstore in the sense that everything felt very personalized. There were little notes everywhere, and you could tell that it was just like the small community of people that usually go to that store. It felt very personal being in there. Maybe it's because the store itself is very small, but it's so lovely and charming, and I really enjoyed it. It was my first time going, but I know I'm gonna go back to it. But the book that I bought there is one that I've heard about forever ago, and it just has been in the back of my mind for a while, and that is Migrations by Charlie McConaghy. I hope that's how you pronounced her last name. I'm so bad with last names. I have heard amazing things about this book. I feel like this is an older one that people talked about maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, but I never got the chance to read it, and now I'm finally going to do it. Like I said, I have heard very good things about this book, and it wasn't even in my mind when I went to the store, but I saw it there and I thought, why not? Because I actually wanted to buy 2 other books when I went there, but unfortunately they didn't have it in stock, so I ended up picking this one instead. Here is what the back says. Franny Stone has always been the kind of woman who is able to love but unable to stay. Leaving behind everything but her research gear, she arrives in Greenland with a singular purpose: to follow the last Arctic terns in the world on what might be their final migration to Antarctica. Franny talks her way into a fishing boat, and she and the crew set sail, traveling ever farther from shore and safety. But as Franny's history begins to unspool, a passionate love affair, an absent family, a devastating crime, it becomes clear that she's chasing more than just the birds. When Franny's dark secrets catch up with her, how much is she willing to risk for one more chance at redemption? Epic and intimate, heartbreaking and galvanizing, Migrations is an ode to a disappearing world and a breathtaking page-turner about the possibility of hope against all odds. I think I'm gonna really enjoy this. It feels like it tackles a lot of the things that I like in literature, which is that kind of like yearning in a book, looking for answers, feeling kind of hopeless and looking for hope back in the world, trying to find your purpose again. And I love when characters have a deeper past that it's kind of dark, where they've done things that maybe they're not exactly proud of, but that doesn't make them a bad person necessarily. I love when stories tackle those types of ideas, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. But what sold me on this book, I read the back and I was like, okay, maybe I would like this, maybe I wouldn't like this. But what sold me honestly was when I read the front, because it says suspenseful and atmospheric, as much as a mystery as an odyssey. And that's what did it to me. For some reason, after I read this, I was like, okay, I need this in my life. So these were the 3 books that I bought in celebration of Independent Bookstore Day. I hope that you spent your day celebrating your local indie bookstore, or at least just reading a good book. I didn't buy that many, but I have been trying my best to be very mindful of how much I spend in books and also making sure that when I am buying a book, it is one that I truly want to read. I'm really happy with my purchases, and let me know if any of you have read any of these books or if any of these sounds good to you, because maybe we have very similar reading tastes. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you on my next video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel because I intend to post a lot more content in the future. Bye-bye! Okay, so I had to turn my camera back on because I completely forgot to show you guys one of the best things that I got today. I'm probably just as excited about this as I was about any other book that I got. So at the bookshop, they had this little wheel that you could spin whenever you purchase something. And when I spun the wheel, I was able to choose from a collection of different stickers. And the one that I picked... Are you ready? Are you kidding me? Like, this is everything I've ever wanted in a sticker. I'm not gonna use this as a sticker. I absolutely won't, because I'm gonna use this as a bookmark. Now, every book that I read from now on, this is what it's going to look like, okay? I absolutely love it. I'm obsessed. And that was all I wanted to share. Now, for real, bye-bye.